Hello, everyone, and happy Elfmas and happy New Year, everyone. Elf Christine has dropped off. Where are you, Christine? You're in there somewhere.
Hello.
Happy New Year to everyone. Hello to everyone who's joining us in the chat. Great to see you. Hello to everyone who is joining us after the fact. It is New Year's Day.
Sandy in the chat.
So some people.
Hi, Sandy.
Oh, yes, Sandy's in the chat.
Yeah. Yes, Sandy came to see John.
Nice.
I told her.
Yeah, and Fiordalisi is the first ever, as often was the first one to say hello. And shortly after, we had greetings from Moscow. We think it's Rhonda, but it's written in the Russian script, so we're only guessing. Well, I'm only guessing. John, so welcome, Rhonda, from Russia. Christine Miller's here with us as well, and Yoke and Susie Carda and Patty Waldron, who did a great job the other day with the Irish research. So it was nice. Yeah, so we're taking another tour, and we're going to do some Welsh wish giving later on. But before we do that, I will turn it over to Vicky to give us the latest update on the stats.
Well, I have to say, I say the stats from the spreadsheet.
Right.
Okay, not from the categories. And we just realized we have a difference, of course. Not everyone works on the spreadsheet, and not everyone uses the appropriate categories. And we haven't had time to check each wish. But in the spreadsheet, we have 53% of progress, of some kind of progress on our wishes. We have 58 in progress, 76 in the category of check it twice, which means it needs a second look or some review of some kind. And we have 58 that are complete. 172 wishes that have no progress. So you can still pick one of your wishes. We have 3 more days left to work. Or you can still work after the 4th, right?
Yep.
To finish? Yeah, sure. Yeah, so 53%. That's our progress.
Excellent.
Which reminds me, as we draw to a close this week, if your profiles that you're working on aren't going to be able to get any more information on them, feel free to put some other maintenance categories on to those profiles. Like if they need more profiles created, because we do have the Connect-a-thon coming up, and maybe we can get some more profiles created during those. Or if you are still looking for a birth record or a death record or a marriage in a specific place, feel free to look through the category picker and pick out some of those categories that the profile might need in order to further that research.
Great idea.
Thanks, Christine. Welcome, Kathy. Kathy was waiting backstage for me to pay attention to her. I was, for some reason, I was thinking, because often when Kathy logs in, she can just put herself on stage, but I forgot that sometimes she can't.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So I'll have to. Anyways, so great work with elves, and we do have a few more days left. Looking forward to breaking through a few more of those things. But let's turn it over to our special guest, Hillary, who was the elf who helped out John Tyner, who was also an elf, but and a great participant in WikiTree events. So, Hillary, over to you. Shall I share your screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. This is Find My Past. This is how it shows up for us in the UK. It might be different for people if they're looking on the .com one. I'm on the .co UK one, so just be aware. Now, John's main profile that he wanted some information on was a person called David Jones. Now, Jones must be, if not the commonest surname in Wales, it's one of the commonest. So he had quite a lot of information on David Jones. He had him up to the 1921 census, but he wanted to know when David Jones died, because he couldn't find him on the 1939 register, which was the next way that you might be able to find him. So we're presuming that he died between 1921 and 1939. So it's quite a big gap. We know more or less when he was born. He was born in 1857, and we know where he was in 1921. So my first thought is, I did have a look. He'd had a look for a couple of deaths, I think, and or I think it was this one and not the other profile. There were two profiles he put, but certainly on the other, I think it was the other profile where he'd had a couple that he'd already looked at and they weren't the right people. But but first person I worked on was this David Jones. So I thought, well, if I might be able to narrow it down a bit. So I know he was living in Tredegar, and I know roughly when he was born. So I did look on the newspapers, and I actually went from his profile. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look now for him on here. Look for Tredegar and see if we get anything come up. Because it's a good chance that he died in Tredegar. So was there anything? Now I've got, and I know that it was roughly. So if I look off between sort of around about 1820s, you can work at different things. So if I go to you can narrow it down quite a bit. You can narrow it down to individual years. So if I work between 1920 and 1929, you've still got a lot of years there, but we're getting closer.
Wow.
Right. So how many have I got now? I've still got 919. So wow. Still a lot. So what I will do, and what I did, is go to the year where I actually found something. So I did quite a lot of hunting, but I actually found something in 1927.
Oh. Now, how big is the town Tredegar?
I'm not sure actually. It's not. I've never been to Tredegar myself. We could bring up a map.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. Let's have a quick look on Google Maps. Let's see. Actually, I know what we'll do. I'll go to a website called Genealogy, which will give us a nice little map.
You see, my ultimate plan was to make you show more of your good websites to use.
Here we go. Tredegar's in Yeah, here we go. And so let's see, where's the best place to go? Let's have a look at this one. Let's go to tier entry. So it gives you roughly some idea of where Tredegar is. So
you don't really pronounce the R the way we would. You sort of leave the R off, right?
Yeah.
No, that's okay, because
yeah. So that basically, it's not far from Ebervale, which is down in South Wales, Mountain Ash. There's places that I've heard of. Obviously, I live in Wales. Yeah. But this is useful to know. Bedwellty is here in Parent Place, because that's the actual registration district for Tredegar, which if you're looking for a death registration, it will at least whilst Bedwellty was a registration district, I don't think it is anymore, but whilst that was a registration district, that's the one we would probably want to look at. But you do have to look on, I'll show you the other website that I use for registration districts. Now there's a lovely registration. UKBMD is a lovely website for looking for registration districts in England and Wales. So, and there's an alphabetical list of the districts. So if we go to that, Bedwellty, let's have a look.
That's a lot of districts. Is it like
Yeah.
one per city?
There's a lot of districts and they cover certain areas. So you can, if you go to the particular district, you can see there's quite a few places.
Oh yeah. Okay.
This person that we actually that I'm dealing with, I think he was actually born in Dukestown. But these are the and these are the dates where it was in this registration district, and our registration actually started in 1837. So a lot of these would have been in a different registration district originally. Some of them were at the time we're looking at in the 1920s would have been in Bedwellty, but not all of them. And I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. So, but as you can see, Tredegar joined then 1894 and was in that district until 1974, which I think was a time when it was it disappeared. Yeah, a lot of our registration districts have disappeared. But this is a very good place to look for if you're not sure what district to start looking for a birth or marriage or death in England and Wales. This is good, and it's got it via counties, and then you get a breakdown of it and that. And to be honest, if you're really not sure, just ask somebody just ask the G2G question and put England or Wales on it, and I'm sure somebody will pick it up and be able to help. So
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've now matched it down to 122. So it's still quite a lot, and we know he wasn't this wasn't him.
And we know it's probably not this Davy Jones, right?
But what we do know is where he lived in 1921. And believe it or not, he lived in Woodfield Road in 1921. So I actually, if you can see, I've ticked this one. I actually went to this paper and I actually went to this thing. So, and if I zoom in, find the actual piece, it says funeral of Mrs. David Jones. The funeral took place on Saturday of Mrs. Jones, widow of Mr. David Jones of Woodfield Road, the well-known checkweigher at Triest Colliery, who died a couple of years ago. So this gave me a clue to when David may have died. This person was lived. He obviously lived at Woodfield Road, but he wasn't alive in 1827 when his widow died. So he died about a couple of years before that. So this was 1827. So I started looking in 1825, couldn't find anything. So I thought, well, shall I have a look on the registrations and see whether there was actually any registrations in that area? Because the chances are, if his wife was still living at that address, then he probably died either at that address or very nearby, probably in that same registration district. So I will go and show you where I looked. Right, the General Register Office is the place to go to order digital, PDF and actual certificates for births and deaths, and the certificates only for the marriages because they haven't got the marriages on here yet. But it is a good place to also go to search. If I log in and I go to search the indexes, it doesn't cover everywhere, but what it does cover is really good. So we know we think he died about, we want a death, not a birth, a death. So we think he died about 1925, possibly, because it was a couple of years before 1927. So I go to 1925, and and I can search up to 2 years either side. So I do that just in case I've got something wrong. Right, so we've got Jones, and we've got David, and we know we have to put in whether we've got male or female, and then we put in the district.
Oh, right.
And what district he died in, and this will give us some results. Right, so I've got quite a selection.
Ooh, wow.
But I also know when he was born. He was born in 1857.
Oh, right.
So if I put in, I think he would have been about 68. So in 1825. So if I put in 68 and I put plus or minus 5 years, just so if, or even a couple of years, I put 5 years just to be on the safe side, because people didn't always know exactly how old somebody was, the person that was actually registering the death. And we do a search. We come with very few fit now. Now we've got somebody 67 at the end of 1924. Got somebody we've got somebody 71 at the end of 1924, and these other two are in 1927. Well, we know he died a couple of years before that, so he's got to be one of these.
Right.
And to me, the top one was the closest. So I shall show you what I've put on David Jones's profile now. I'll just bring his profile over. Right. So here we are, 16th of February 1857. I've put on here on the images page, I've put the image from the newspaper, clipped from the newspaper. So you've just got the actual image of the funeral. So we know from that it's 2 years. And I've also put on there in the research notes, I've added that his death was registered in the November, December quarter of 1924 in Bedwellty district. I thought that was the most likely one. Now, I've done something else as well today. I've actually got a copy of the digital copy of it, which actually shows that on the 11th of November 1924 at 10 Woodfield Road, Tredegar, David Jones died, age 67. He was a colliery checkweigher. He died of cancer of the tonsils. And his son actually registered his death. And I'll send John this actual digital image so that he can add it to whatever he needs to add it to.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that's great.
Brilliant.
Right. The other part of his wish, I have not had so much success with, I'm afraid. The other part of his wish was his father, James. He was the one where he couldn't find him after 1901, and he's already ordered 1905 and 1909 death digital images, and they're not him. It's possible that he could be any one of a few different people, and I haven't managed to find anything in the newspaper from when I did some searches that would give me any clues as to which one it might be. So I'm afraid that bit I couldn't break, but I have managed to do the other bit and that. I was pleased when I saw that digital image this morning, and it was the right one. Believe it or not, though, we would search for on another website called FreeBMD, which I will bring up. I'll go to, this is Free UK Genealogy. It's FreeBMD, which is birth, marriage and death registrations. FreeCen, so the free census ones, And these are all transcriptions that are being done for free by people.
Wow.
And then there's FreeReg, which is that's parish registers, where people have transcribed parish registers.
Wow.
All of these are all things in progress. FreeBMD is the one that's got the most useful and got most people on it. But when I searched FreeBMD for the death of David Jones, let's see, and he died in the December quarter of 1924. And you can search for more different things as well. You can decide which ones you want to search for if you want to do a general search, but you probably wouldn't do that for Jones, but you might do for some of these rarer surnames if you want to look for things. I've probably got too far. There we go. So when I searched for that, it hasn't come up with the one that I found on the GRO. So there are obviously people that were missing from the indexes. So it certainly is worth searching on different places. You might find that you find something on one place that you don't find somewhere else, or it may have been transcribed differently or whatever. But I couldn't. I say it makes you wonder if it's not on the actual indexes, if it's not there, because when you actually go to this, you can bring up an actual image of the whole page of the index, and so it should be on the same page as these other David Jones. So it should have come up there. Okay.
Wow. Well, that's great, Hilary.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I did actually look in sort of the FreeReg thing as well for this, but I didn't get any joy there, just in case I could find a burial. But the burials, the closer you come to the present day, the more chances are that you're not going to find what you want. So a lot of them are just not available.
And what about, is Find a Grave popular in Wales? Like, is it used often?
It's not as popular. The people do use it. There are some for the churchyards in the village where I live that people have put up. And I think I've received at least one request for something in our village that I could do. But having said that, I've got a load of photographs of the headstones in the village, which I still need to get up onto WikiTree. So it's part of my one place study for the village. So
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great work. And yeah. So what do you think, John?
Yeah, very pleased. Thanks very much, Hilary. Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't going to quite get there, and I was going to just end up with this might be the one. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that newspaper find, what a great find that was.
Oh yeah. It takes a bit to go through, and sometimes you're lucky, but a lot of the optical recognition is not always great. So you don't always get the results you want when you're trying to look for things. So
excellent. Good. Well, that's a wonderful way to start our new year, I think, with a wish solved, and from one WikiTree elf to another WikiTree elf. I think that's just wonderful. So we'll be back again tomorrow with same time, same bat channel, with another wish solved, and then Friday, and then our wrap up will be on Saturday at the regular 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time Saturday roundup time. The elves are taking over the Saturday roundup this Saturday and talking about the whole Secret Santa challenge and whatnot. And so it's great. Yes. we've been conscripting for new elves if anyone wanted to join us to help us with this last push. So I'll say that again because we still got a couple days, and maybe people are bored. You know, there's New Year's Day, they're all partied out and they want to turn over a new leaf and help their fellow WikiTreeers. That could be a great resolution, and what better way than to help us finish off the Secret Santa Challenge. So if that is your resolution for the new year, send one of us a message or join in, and we'll be happy to show you some wishes that could use some loving. But other than that, any last words from any of our panel here?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. This is the first time that all 5 of us lead elves are actually on screen at the same time. It might be, which is kind of nice. Great to see all of you. Again, thanks, special thanks to Hillary and John for joining us. It's always great having special guests, and Hillary for leading us through your research, sharing some of your Welsh sites and resources.
And happy birthday to John's brother.
And happy birthday to John.
Happy birthday.
Hope he has a great day. Hope you all have a great day and a great year. Happy 2025. Happy Alphamus. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.